Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 p.m. and we're going to get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the USPS USAS fiscal year-end meeting for FY25. Just as a bit of housekeeping, we would like to have everyone mute your microphones. If you have any questions, please, by all means, put it in the chat and either I will address it or someone from our team will address it. As some future roundtables, next Tuesday, June 10th, roundtable, we're going to go over the fiscal period H checklist in detail. So that's what that roundtable is going to be. And then in July, we're going to cover the inventory on July the 8th. I'm here on our metasolutions.net website, and I wanted to show you how to get to our links and documents for anyone who is new, and we do have quite a few new users this year. So if you go over to the blue member resources in the upper right-hand corner, click on the third tile, Fiscal Services State Software. Click on the fourth blue link that says Links and Documents. And if you have not already bookmarked this website, I would highly encourage that you do so. You can always get access to all the state software URLs. So we have USAS, USPS, Inventory, and EIS. You can also get access to the data collector. We also have a link here for the data collector password reset if you need to reset your password. There's a few other items over here to the right. If you ever want us to log in and see what's going on while you're actually on your computer, we do have a TeamViewer download. I want to pay particular attention to the training videos. This is our YouTube video. And every recording or every training that we do record them and we post them out here to our YouTube channel. This is not the same place where our roundtable trainings are, but you'll see in April we did new contract training. In March we did STRS balancing. And then in November we did EMIS staff training. So if you ever want to look at a previous recording, we highly encourage you guys to come out to our YouTube channel. There's some other links. And then this is where our documentation is here at the bottom. All our roundtable discussions are here in the roundtable discussions folder. And we do have it broken up between USAS and USPS. So you can always go out here and look at previous recordings. If you attended it or didn't attend it, you can always come out here and view it again. And then as far as documentation for fiscal year end, we do have a fiscal year end folder. And it is broken out between USAS and USPS. And all you have to do is just click on it. And it's zipping for me.
That's because you're on the folder still, Maria.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to come out here. And then you can see the preliminary checklist and the regular checklist. Okay. So I'm going to bring over the checklist. And I'm going to bounce back and forth between a demo account and the checklist. So right here, you'll see the checklist. And I'm going to zoom it a little bit. And what's neat is we started doing this within the last year is our table of contents is kind of interactive where you can just simply click where you want to go and it'll take you right there to it. I think that's a neat feature within our checklist because we never get interrupted during our normal work days where we may need to stop and then try to figure out where we go. And you don't have to scroll anymore. You can just point and click. So the first part of the checklist, we talk about the preliminary checklist. That preliminary was what we recovered it or we reviewed it during the May roundtable. So we do have the Google Drive folder or the link to our Google Drive folder where you can go to the preliminary checklist. We also have a link to the roundtable review. I already have it already pulled up, and I'm not going to go over it in detail, but just talk about life insurance is the first one, the life insurance over 50,000. We highly encourage that you put that in for anyone who leaves the district before their last payroll. It saves you a lot of time come calendar year end where you don't have to go back through and do some extra steps to enter that information in. The second thing is the STRS verification, or basically reviewing your STRS advance. The third is job calendars, going in and entering any job calendars that you may know of. As you have time, you can go in and enter your job calendars. The fourth is my favorite four-letter word, EMIS. EMIS final is started. It's open until the January the 6th, not January, but August the 6th. So you can go in and work with your EMIS staff and making sure that you're error-free. And the last thing is new contracts, is entering in any new contracts that you have for the year. Please remember, we do have YouTube videos that covers the STRS verification or the advance, how to balance that reports. We also have a review for EMIS staff, and we also have new contracts, and those were just recently done. So if you have any questions, by all means, you can put in a ticket to Redesign Help at metasolutions.net, and you could also review those training videos.
Maria, I thought I saw a question in chat.
Okay.
See if you see it. Now I can't see it, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't
Do you
see
see
one.
anything?
I don't see
Okay.
anything.
I thought I saw something pop in, so interesting.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
see
never
anything.
mind. Sorry.
No problem. Something to keep in mind, you have to have generated your STRS advanced submission file in order to process or initialize your July payrolls. So that is something that is fairly new within these last few years, that you must have created your submission file before you'll be able to initialize your payroll. Also to remember that if you are a district that does use a third party for your STRS and you do need to merge your files, to make sure you do that before you submit it to STRS. And here in red is the error that would happen if you do try to initialize a July payroll and you're not in STRS advance. Okay, moving to EMIS reporting. Just make sure you're coordinating with your EMIS department, and that you're making sure that you have completed your final L reporting checklist. And there is a link to get to that. I also have it up right here. The first part of this checklist, and this is the SSDT EMIS staff checklist, it is the initial, and you'll have to scroll down until you can get to the final. I won't go through it in detail and just hit the special points that we do have on our Meta USPS checklist. So just remember that now is the time to enter in your separation dates and reasons for any employees who's left during FY25. Entering in the separation date and reason will not affect payroll. And remember that the date that you're using is the last day they worked, not the date that they gave you notice, not the last day of the fiscal year, but the last day that they actually worked in their position. The second thing we want to point out is to not archive any of your FY25 compensation records until after you're out of STRS advance, and also after EMIS final L is closed. Both of those periods are slated to close August the 6th of 2025. And the new initial L period for FY26 is slated to start in early September. And then once again, we do have a link to the L checklist right here. Next, we're going to move to month-end closing. And what's on our checklist is not a complete list for the month-end closing. You can click here on this link for a complete listing of everything you should do, but these are just a few of the hot points that we don't want you to forget about. So steps 1 and 2 are optional, and they're the STRS monthly and SERS monthly reports. So I'm going to go to our demo account. And those two reports can be found under the reports. You go down to SERS reporting, and then for the first one, that's the SERS monthly report. Then there's STRS reporting, and it's the third one, STRS monthly report. Next, we encourage you to balance your district payroll account once when you receive the statement. And then you have a couple of options of reports that you can run to see your outstanding checks. So the first one is from the home screen. You scroll down and you can go to your SSDT outstanding checks report. Secondly, you can go to payments, check register, filter by paid to see what checks are outstanding. And the third option is going to reports, payment transaction status report, and you can use different statuses. In this case, you would use paid, entering your dates, and generate a report. You also will want to reconcile any checks. You can do that by going to payments, check register, and then just checking and reconciling any checks that you need to. There also is a feature called auto reconcile, and that's once when we get specs from your bank and you can upload a file from your bank into USPS. If that's something you're interested in, by all means, enter in a ticket to redesign help at metasolutions.net and we can assist to getting that set up for you. When you finish your month-end checklist, do not close the month of June yet. You still need to do quarter processing and also process your STRS advance report. Next will be your quarter report. So once again, these are just, it's not a complete list of the quarter report. These are things that we just would like you to hit. For a complete list, all you have to do is just click this link and it will take you straight to the quarter year-end checklist that's been provided by SSDT. So going back into the demo account, you'll want to go to reports and quarter report and enter the criteria and generate a report. I already have a report already, I think. Let me pull up one that I did this morning. So this is a copy of a quarter report. And keep in mind that this is demo account, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you go all the way to the bottom, we want to look at the total summary report. And your total adjusted gross should equal your calculated adjusted gross. And if it does not, you'll want to run a series of reports to see what the discrepancy is. To find the discrepancy, you'll want to go to reports, audit report, and you want to run some reports and you want to look at manual changes to total gross, applicable gross, payroll item annuity amount withheld, and federal applicable gross. And if you have any problems trying to find it, please submit a ticket and your regional support will be more than happy to assist you. So that is step 5 of the checklist. Step 6 is all payroll items checks for the quarter should equal the total payroll items showing on the quarter report. So be sure to verify electronic transfers for federal and Medicare payments as well. This should be true for every payroll item. Step 6 is total gross showing on the quarter report should equal the total of all payroll disbursement checks created during payroll posting to USAS for the quarter. Step 8. Each district is different. I know there are some districts that do balance on a payroll basis. Some do on a monthly basis. At a minimum, we're highly recommending that you at least balance your quarter report and W-2 report. So going back into the demo account, you'll want to go to reports, W-2 report, and the fourth one is the W-2 report and submission. So you might want to run this a couple of times. You might want to run it initially for employees with errors only and look at that before you run it for everyone else. So that's step A. Step B is to complete and balance your 941 W-2 reconciliation worksheet, which here's a link to that worksheet here. And then we also have an Excel version. And I can show those to you. So here's the Excel version. And then here is a paper copy if you wanted to use that. Step C is the balance payroll item totals. Oh, can't find. To your quarter report. So what you're doing is you're taking this page right here and you're balancing all your payroll items, both taxes and annuities, to your outstanding payables report for the quarter. Never get this thing up. So what you can do is go to payments, payee. You want to focus on checks. You want to enter a date range so that you can look at all checks for the quarter. Here I have put in April the 1st of 2025 through June 30th of 2025. And in your district, when you do that, you'll have a listing of reports. You can click report and that report will produce a grand total on that page that you can balance to your W-2. You'll want to do the same exact process to your electronic transfers. Step D is to balance gross amounts with your W-2 report to all pay reports for the quarter. Step E is if errors are discovered, check employees that had exceptions processing during the quarter, such as voided checks, error adjustments, or adjustments, and you can run an audit report to help assist you with that. Okay, so step 9 of the quarter checklist on our checklist is to go to processing and outstanding payables. So process outstanding payables, and you'll want to confirm that this grid is clear. Step 10 is the total of all employer distribution amounts, if tracked in the system, should equal the total of all USAS accounts payable checks to vendors or deduction companies. So you'll want to go to USAS integration, look at employer distributions, and anything in here, you want to go over into USAS and confirm that you have checks on the system for those. Step 11 is to complete and file any required quarter end submission forms. So your 941s plus your Schedule B, your state 942, OSDI, and cities. Step 12, for city withholdings, take the total gross times the percentage of the tax withheld and make sure that you've submitted everything correctly. And just note that any mobile employees or anyone that you do a courtesy tax for could be the cause of any discrepancies. Step 13 is your ODJFS. That can be found under reports, ODJFS reporting, and then ODJFS report. You want to check all totals for accuracy. And if necessary, you'll want to go to core, adjustments, click create. We'll enter an employee, and you'll go here to type, and that's where you can do an ODJFS total gross or ODJFS weeks. Now on our checklist, we do have a document for ODJFS balancing that you can reference if you have any balancing issues. And we also have a link to the roundtable that this ODJFS balancing document was reviewed. So those are two helpful tools. Step 14 is when all the data is correct. You're ready to submit your submission file. So we'll go back to reports, ODJFS reporting, ODJFS report, and generate submission file. And then this is the submission file that you'll need to upload into the source. Once again, you're not ready to close June yet, and you're ready to move on and do your STRS advanced processing. So moving back to our checklist for STRS advanced processing. So although the board does not advance money to STRS, the process for annual reporting is the same as in prior years. Employees flagged as full-time have 120 service days, and that's what they'll get credit towards retirement. Employees flagged as part-time will be given credit according to the STRS rules. And if you have any questions about a full-time or part-time status, we ask you to reach out to STRS to obtain a ruling. Some things to consider before processing your STRS advance is anyone who you know that you'll be paying off a contract early, you'll want to go to compensation, their compensation record, and change the pays and contract. And be cautious that the pay per period may change. So let's go back in. Let's go to some compensations. You'll want to look at, focus on anyone with a contract for FY25. If you know you're going to pay them off and they're not going to hit the number of pays that were originally entered, you can just simply change it here in the pays and contract and just be cautious that the pay per period very well could change. The other thing is any docs over the summer, you can enter that information in payroll payments future. And after the advance has been processed, the docs should disappear from future and be processed at the appropriate time. So once again, here, if you go to payroll payments future, this is where you can enter in docs that you know that you need to process before you go into STRS advance mode. So step 15 is STRS reporting, which is found under reports, STRS reporting, and STRS advance. There are 3 different reports that at this point in time you should have been processed, looking at them and cleaning them up and everything. So the first one is the non-advance report. Those should be any employees who are not advancing. It includes days in contract, days worked as of June 30th, contract obligation, and amount due. I can run it here, but I don't think it produces really any information. Let me go to of what that report looks like from documentation. So the non-advance report, here's a sample of what it looks like. It has the employee name, their social security number, their position, days in contract, days worked as of 6/30, their contract obligation, and their amount due. The next report is the advanced position report, and it has a report of all positions advancing. It includes service credit, contract amount due, advance amount, and rehired retiree. So example of what that report looks like. Back up. Is here. There's the employee name, the social security number, their service credit, the amount due, the amount advanced by employee, the advance pickup, the amount advanced, and whether a yes or no if they are a rehired retiree. And then the third report is advanced fiscal year to date report, and it has everyone who has contributed to STRS for the fiscal year, and it includes service credit, STRS days, earnings, STRS employee amount, advanced amount, and rehired employee. So that report looks like this. So it has your employee name, has their social security number, their service credit, their STRS days, their earnings, the non-tax pickup, the non-tax advance amount, the non-tax total, the deposit, the advanced amount, the tax total, and whether or not they're a rehired retiree. So you want to verify all the data on the reports. On the STRS Advanced Fiscal Year to Date report, check each employee's service credit and fiscal year to date totals. At the bottom of this report, there is a taxed, non-taxed report. The amount shown should equal the amount deposited to STRS during the fiscal year, plus the amount of accrued contributions on summer pays. Now we'll move to step 16 is once you've verified the information from the advance, you're ready to generate the submission file. So you'll click this button right here. It'll produce a submission file, and that file you'll need to save until you're ready to do this STRS submission. Now you'll want to verify the STRS advanced configuration information. That information can be found under System, Configuration, and you'll scroll a little bit till you get to STRS Advanced Configuration. Here it will show the amount that is advanced. Check mark, you'll want to make sure that you're check marked that you're in advance mode. And then as you're processing your summer pays, you'll see the amount paid back change. And then when you do your submission, you'll see a submission date stamp or timestamp. The other place that you can check for this information is under Core and Organization. And it has the advanced amount, whether or not you're in advance mode, the amount paid back, and then whether or not it's been submitted. So I do see there's some activity in chat. Is there anything that I need to take care of?
I think it's covered.
Think it's covered? Great. And then each time outstanding payables are processed for STRS, the advance payback field on the system configuration or into organization, the screen will increase by the advance figure paid. So this amount will change, and you'll just want to make sure it changes after you process each payroll. So step 17, if you're a district that does do a merged file, let's go back to STRS reporting, STRS advance. We ask that you do we at Meta do not process a merge file, but by all means, we can assist you to make sure that it's formatted correctly so that you can merge the file correctly. We do have instructions on the checklist. So I'm on step 17. And here's more information about the advance and how to merge files. Just submit a ticket to redesign help at metasolutions.net if you do need assistance. Are there any other questions? I will. So you'll have to dock a pay, each pay. That will affect it. I think I do talk about that a little bit later in the checklist, that docs do affect the amount that you pay back. Oh, and then Carol did answer that. See here, I have an employee who died late April. I still owe him the balance of contracted days he worked. His wife is setting up in state and has not got it done yet. How does that work with the advance to pay him back? Yeah, Joy, submit a ticket so that we can look into that a little bit further. Yeah. All right, so now we're on step 18 is submitting the advance file, either if it's a single file or a merge file. And if you're merging the files, do not send it until you've actually have merged that file. So going back to what you'll do is you'll do this. You'll click on this, file in the file that you did for your submission file, and then click the submit uploaded file to STRS. So step 19 is reminder, districts can verify STRS file has been submitted by going to core and organization. And each year the annual report is due to STRS by the first Friday of August. And then once you've submitted your file to the STRS, you should receive an email stating that they've received your file. If you do not receive an email, we suggest that you do contact STRS and confirm that they've received it. If they did not receive it, you can go back to step 18 and basically choose your file and submit it to STRS. So when you're done with your STRS advance, you can continue on with your quarter end closing, and we can get finished up so we can close June. So step 20 is the SCRS surcharge report. That's located under reports, SCRS reporting, and it's the fourth one, SCRS surcharge report. Make sure you put the correct fiscal year in. And by default, the include fixed pay accounts is included, but if you don't, all you have to do is uncheck it and then use however you want to sort it and click generate file. And you'll want to keep this report and use it in comparison for what you receive back from SCRS for surcharge employees. Step 21 is your wage obligation by employee. That's under reports, wage obligation by reports, and then the second one is by employee. Now you'll want to make sure that you are processing this report. You want to make sure that the as of is the last pay date processed. So the pay date of your last processed payroll. The calculated will be 6/30 of 25. You can use however you want to sort it, but the appointment type you'll want to say is classified. And then if you want to include any pay types, if you have some pay types that are by withhold by SCRS, you can do that and click generate the report. And I believe that this is a report that you'll definitely want to process during this time, because I believe that if you process it at a later date, the information is different. So definitely want to process this in June before you close the quarter. And you'll want to save this for the SCRS liability report for your auditors. And then finally, step 22 is to go to core and posting period and closing June. So you'll want to go in and you'll want to close June, keeping in mind that you are closing for the month, quarter, and fiscal year. It's going to take a while for you to verify your fiscal year-end bundle report, which that information is found under utilities and file archive. But once when you have done it, you should see FY25 fiscal year-end reports. We recommend that you do it at the end of the day as opposed to the beginning of the day because it does take a while to generate. So once when you have done that, you are completely closed for FY25 and you may move on for the next fiscal year, which is FY26. I don't see any questions. Okay, we can move on to post fiscal year end closing. Restrictions during the advance. So we highly recommend that you do not change position numbers for employees that are in advance. This should be completed after the advance is finished. New payroll items for STRS that are assigned to positions should not be added until after the advance is finished. The pay types of regular and irregular cannot be created for compensations if the STRS advance checkbox is marked. That's the checkbox on the compensation screen. And the following pay types will affect core organization STRS configuration amount paid back. That's the doc, the retro, termination, and pay off accrued wages. So these amounts do affect that amount paid back. Modifications cannot be made to certain fields on the position and compensation records while in advance mode. And another reminder, do not archive any employee, position, compensation records prior to L staff final being closed and STRS advance being completed. Step 23 is STRS follow-up on the advance after all summer pays. So going back to our demo account. So if you go back to core and organization, after the last advance pay, if the amount paid back is equal or greater than the advance amount, then the district will come out of advance mode. So if these two were matched or greater, then you'll see this will check mark and you'll be out of advance mode. When the advance mode checkbox on the STRS advance configuration is unchecked, the amount paid back will always display 0. If the amount paid back is less than the advanced amount after the last pay, then the advance mode checkbox will not be unchecked and the amount paid will continue to show on the STRS advance configuration. So if not, then you'll see these amounts be the same. After the advance is complete, you may find any discrepancies between what was contributed to STRS and what was reported on advance mission file tape on a report called the SSDT Check STRS Advance Report. So that can be found under Reports, STRS Reporting, and it's this first one, Check STRS Advance. Some tips on how to run it. So your start date should be the first STRS Advance July pay date for your district, and the end date should be the last STRS Advance pay date. And then you can sort it however you want to and generate. And what you'll want to do is check each employee with your STRS fiscal year to date report and see who may be a difference. Any differences should be reported to STRS as a prior fiscal year correction if necessary. And then you can contact us so that we can take you out of STRS advance mode. If you have any questions with this process, by all means, just submit a ticket to us and we can help assist you with the problem. Okay, so for the new fiscal year, you'll just want to go to Core, go to Posting, and then create and just create the month of July, remembering that if July is open, you can initialize the payroll. If it's open and current, you can post the payroll. Step 25 is another opportunity to go to Core and Job Calendars and create or modify any of your job calendars so that you can do what you need to do for the new fiscal year. And the last thing is new contracts. Like I said before, that's found under processing and it's new contracts. We did have a training back in April that was pretty detailed as to how to use it. There's 3 different options that you can use. There's the new contract maintenance, which is basically where you'll just go in and add one for specific employees. That's if you just have a handful of people to do. That's where it's useful to use that. The second option is the mass copy, and this is where you can do it by pay groups. So if you know you have your maintenance staff that you need to do and you just want to knock them all out, you can come over here and then it'll add it to the maintenance and then you can modify as necessary. The third option is to import new contracts via a spreadsheet load. And you can go through and do that. And I think we have a lot of districts who do use that one. So this is new contracts just for contracts, those compensation records that are labeled as contract. I see we have some chats. Yes, you can change your position numbers, but just not in advance for those who are STRS employees. All right, and so then the final piece to discuss are non-contract compensations. You cannot use new contract for non-contract compensations. There's a couple options that you do have. From the home screen, you can scroll down and use the SSDT non-contract compensation mass load extract. It creates a spreadsheet. You can go in, clean it up, put whatever information that you need for the new compensation for the year, and then upload that back into the system. To upload that back into the system, you can just go to Utilities, Mass Load, choose your file, that must be a CSV, click Compensation, and then load that back in. That's if you have a lot. And then, of course, you can always manually update those. You can do that by going to Core and Compensation and click Create and enter those compensations by hand. And that completes the USPS checklist. Are there any questions? If you have any questions, by all means, submit a ticket to redesignhelp@metasolutions.net.